All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Very happy that you all are here. The purpose of this meetup was to, share a perspective on how business or understanding business is important for designers. Because I've been a designer myself. We'll talk more about it, and I know when I have worked in my own style of, what I am doing and how it's good and everything, and there's a lack of connection with the rest of the world, so to say. So that was the idea behind pushing for this topic for today. So let's jump into it. Uh, the way we're going to do it is we have two speakers that includes me and Mukund, who's also here on the call, and we introduce ourselves. Shayant will be the moderator for our session today, so please feel free to put your questions. Every question will be answered, and Shayant will make sure we do it. We answer every question. Having said that, let's observe a few rules, so just to make it more seamless. I'd request everybody to keep your phones silent so that it doesn't disturb anybody, or at least be on mute. Even if you have to keep your phones on, keep on mute. Uh, you can unmute yourself when you have to talk, and also there's a raise hand option in Google Meet, right? Use that to say something, and Shayan will make sure, he'll keep moderating, make sure everybody gets to voice out their questions, back thoughts, whatever. All right. With that, let's begin. Like I said, today we have two speakers. That includes me, Pranay, and Mukund, and Shayan will be our moderator. Quick introduction about myself. I am currently working as a staff technical program manager at Shield AI, which doesn't mean a lot, but basically I'm part of an engineering team now. But my journey was through design. And these this Venn diagram of three circles kind of shows what I bring as value to a company, even at my current company. My experience through design, business, and technology, and that's what I'd like to talk about today. Uh, I mean, these were my efforts. These infographics were my efforts at kind of trying to pitch myself as a candidate. Um, so yeah, I like to say, curiosity is what really drives me, and that's the biggest driver for me. And yeah, I have several interests. Just learning, basically, is the most important one. Again, won't take too much time to introduce myself. Let me move on to the next speaker, and I'd let him talk about himself. Mukund, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Pranay. So, hello, good morning, everyone. So, myself, Mukund. So, I have my background is design. So, I started my career as graphic and logo designer. Then I have moved into a lot of things. Like I have been developing. I have been UI UX, then product design. My last job role was I was a product manager in a company where we were building a um, account reconciliation product for the bigger companies, which SAP is doing for the companies like account reconciliation of child companies of a parent company. So that kind of product we were building, and that was a AI enabled product. So I was there. So I was handling engineering team. I was handling the design team. I was also talking about the businesses and how this product will align with the market and what competitors are doing and how we can make this product ready to go market. So all of that strategy and everything I was doing. So as a designer, I was doing a lot of things over there. And in my current role, I am a partner of a digital marketing company where I handle tech business, and I am building also product. So currently I am building a product which is related to healthcare professional. My goal is to build something like, you can say, a product where we can search doctor, give an appointment, and also a platform where medical representative who pitch their brand and products to the doctors. So for their appointments also we are building a platform, and for doctor also we are making a AI's kind of patient record system and all. So that I am building. And also I'm building a outdoor hoarding company's solution where they can manage their business easily. So that few gaps are there where I saw that we can do a better. So this is completely my brainchild. So I'm building that product, and I'm getting a good response from the market also. We have acquired 10-15 customers also on these both products. So that is where I am currently doing. So that is my background. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Mukund. Going ahead, this is a moderator of the day, Trent.
Hmm. Okay. So I think most of the people know me. So the for people who don't know me, I am Shant Kumar. I work as a senior product designer at Finzen Global Solution. So I just completed my 7th years in design. Even though I completed 7 years in design, my family still don't know what the hell I do. They still think that I do make things pretty. That is basically about me, my career. And I started as a graphic designer. Then I moved to UI, UX, and product. So I'm working as a product designer now in Finjen, where I'm building a learning management system. And I am also the founder of the community called Culture. It's a community that we are building for all the designers to come together, talk about design, and kind of um, find answers to the question that they don't know. So this is a part of that. So basically, this is a short introduction of me. So yeah, that's it.
I would say, Shine, you can put the link to your group in the chat for
Yeah,
anyone who's not
yeah,
part of culture right now. I mean, it's a great community to be part of. A lot of stuff
yeah,
keep happening, a lot of discussion. So please feel free to join the culture.
yeah. I will add that actually in the chat. You guys can check it out actually.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll take the lead. Let me start. So I'll be the first speaker for the day. So let's start. I mean, looks like a weird image, but let me talk through this. This is what I was before. So I did just a quick intro about me. I did a master's in 2017. I went to uh, Politecnico di Milano for a master's in strategic design, and that was quite an epiphany for me because this image is how I was able to sum up myself even in the final jury that I presented, final thesis. Um, what I realized was this is me, this is where I am, and this is the rest of the world. And the bubble represents knowledge, right? Um, this bubble will keep on growing, so much more knowledge is coming out every day. But so it's not like I'll be able to match this bigger bubble out there, but at least I can expand, I can grow. But it also told me that there are always bigger bubbles out there, and you can always grow into one. So let me go forward to the next slide. And I don't know if a lot of you or most of you haven't seen this game. This is Age of Empires. Does anybody know about this game? It's a strategy game. You've got to build your own base and win the map. That's the objective. If you see, this is where you are, and rest of the map is all in dark. You just know where the enemy town centers are, but besides that, you don't know. Why I show this image is because you see there's an area of visibility within which there's a tree, there's everything, your house or town center or whatever. But then as you play the map, you explore the map, you find resources, you build your own base, and you attack the enemy and you win, right? Complete your objective. That's what the game is all about. What I want you all to remember from these pictures is the fact that to accomplish the objective, you will have to explore the map and find the resources that are available there. That's what this game is about, right? So keep that concept in the head as we go ahead, right? Um, so kind of building onto the same concept, the bubbles and the exploration concept. Imagine if you are a UI designer, right? Working on some app, trying to make it look better, trying to define the interface, what it's going to look like. Oh, by the way, when I talk about UI and UX now, I don't just talk about in terms of an app or a digital interface. UI and UX can exist in anything that's designed. Even the chair that I'm sitting on has an interface, the way and the UX of how it feels to me, right? So But for this discussion, for our meetup today, I'm just going to be talking about in terms of digital interfaces, right? So let's say you're a UI designer, which I was actually in my previous company, where the company built uh, a safety system for forklifts, and so there was a cloud web interface. There was an application that I was working with. So let's say you're the UI designer and you're working on what should the interface look like? What color will I be using? What type will I be putting on the web page or app, and so on. And that's the bubble you're working on. But there's a bigger space out there which you're not aware of right now. Let's say if that is you, the moment you decide to step out of that bubble and you enter the domain of user experience, this is where your bubble is enlarged, and now UI is one part of that bigger bubble, because now you're thinking about, why should it be like this? Why should I put this button here, not there? What should the navigation be like? How should the different screens be connected? Where can person go back to and go ahead, and whatever, like different questions you'll answer. And that kind of enlarges your bubble, but now UI is part of it and you're in a bigger bubble. And again, you could step out into a bigger bubble yet. The moment you start looking at the whole product, and like I said, the product that we are building had a web dashboard and an application as well, right? They both are part of the same product. So now when I'm designing, when I've become a product designer, I'm not just thinking of how this app will look like. Now I'm thinking, how will this app integrate with the web dashboard? How will the communication, how will the information flow? What will this information from the app look like on the dashboard, and so on, right? And there'll be, you all have been in different companies in different design positions, so you'd be able to relate like what I'm trying to talk about. um, if not, please feel free to ask. Don't have assumptions. But yeah, the moment you step out into the bigger bubble, now UX is, when I say UX, you're probably talking about one UX of a single product or a single interface. But now you're talking about everything within that product or service. And so in my case, there was a cloud dashboard and the app, and now I'm thinking about all of it, how it works together seamlessly, right? I could still step out, and I'm looking at a whole system now. Uh, so we are developing this product for a warehouse, kind of industrial setup. Warehouse, let's take warehouse as an example. A warehouse is a system of lot of other things. There's the QR batch code reader. You have to pick up stuff, drop it there. There are different systems that allow you to do that. That's not what we were building, but those systems are out there. Could I be thinking about integration with those products or services, other products or services that these folks use, right? And so now when your bubble has enlarged and you're working in the systems bubble, you're not just thinking about your product, but you're thinking about all the different products that are there, and how could they integrate with yours, right? They could have a login system. They could be using some, email or ERP, some system that they want to integrate with your system. Does your system allow that? How will it look like? How will it function? And even yet, sorry, even yet, there could be a system of systems, right? There could be different facilities all working together, and they have different interfaces and products. How could they come together? It's just a matter of where you are, right? Um, Let me put it this two ways. You could choose to expand your bubble and be working at this level, system of systems, or you could still be doing UI, but at least now you have a bigger field of view, in to understand where are you working, what is the objective of this whole system or system of systems or product, whatever bubble you want to expand your vision to. It allows you to moderate your ideas, your solution, in respect of this whole space that you're working within. um, are there any questions? Let me pause for a question, if there are any, uh, so far, and then I'll talk.
Yeah. So there are no questions so far. Yeah, you can continue. Actually.
All right.
Yeah.
Um, so this is what I want. And again, you could look at it in different contexts. So think about it as this one company, let's say Swiggy, for example. You're a designer for one of the apps for Swiggy. So you are looking at the UI for a particular, let's say the customer app. You're working for the interface, designing the interface. If that's where you are, then you are in this bubble UI. But the moment you start talking about what will the navigation flows be like, right? Search kahan pe hona chahiye, what should be the first screen, what should the first screen look like, how much time should one spend, how much time should it take for people to do stuff. You've expanded your bubble and you're working in a bigger domain now. The moment you start talking about the service, there's the customer interface, there's the merchant interface, there's the rider interface, right? You're thinking about all of it. You're thinking about service. Maybe I'll have my riders wear a jacket with my Swiggy name imprinted on it, so that it people know while that guy is going around that this is a Swiggy rider. It serves two purposes. It advertises your company while when the guy is delivering stuff at your home, delivering food at your home. You know that this is a genuine guy. It serves multiple purposes, but you're working in a different space now. UX or the app has become one tool of your one solution of your bigger service. It's not the whole service, right? And this is simply a matter of changing your perspective, how you are looking at things, and what is the level of problem to solve. There are always bigger problems to solve, right? So where are you operating right now? Even if you're operating a problem in this domain, which is absolutely fine, but you should know, like, what is this whole space, what problems are they solving, and so does your solution align with their intent on what they are trying to achieve or what they're trying to build. And by the way, I've had several experiences of these where you come up with the concept, like, this is how it should be, this is what it should look like, and they're like, no, this is not going to work. And then you find out, okay, why wouldn't it work, what's wrong? And it can be a moment of friction where people are like, okay, listen, don't just argue with me, just go get this done. Don't, I don't know if people have experienced stuff like that. I do have experienced stuff like that, but I've always tried to ask questions and understand. Look, because if you're going to become better at what you're providing, you need to know what are you moving towards, right? What's the North Star that you're looking at? And therefore, it is important to always be taking feedback. It's okay if your idea didn't work, but what's the feedback? What is the objective that the business strategy? If this is, when I say business strategy, you're talking about the CXX, the marketing guy, the CEO and the CFO. What are their plans? What are they trying to achieve, right? If imagine um, Swiggy decides to deliver food through some other way, and not the riders, right? Then what's the purpose of the Swiggy app? How will it change? What purpose will it serve for the company or the users or the rider, right? The context changes because somebody here decided to have a different business strategy. So your work will get impacted by what people in higher up bubbles are doing. So even if you don't want to work in those higher up bubbles, to be aware is the idea for the day, to take away that, to know how it's going to affect. I've put one more bubble, which is governance. Imagine you're working in a city and there are laws like it happened for Uber, right? You cannot you cannot have Rapido, Uber, and Ola in the city. Now, how will that impact you? The designers came up with a way to somebody in the company would have come up with a way to say, okay, we're not riders, we're porters or something else, right? They changed the concept, and that reflected in the interfaces as well. So whoever the UI UX guy was also implemented that basis. What changes happened here, right? And they trickle down to this level. That's the idea I wanted to share today. And I don't want to talk a lot more, so I'll quickly wrap up. But I'll leave it for questions and answer, and even related to the topic, maybe something more. But just to really thrust this idea on your minds, these are different levels at which you could be working, and it's just a matter of changing your perspective. You could be working at a city level, state, national level, international, working between nations, or you're thinking about the whole planet when you're working, when you're designing something. How will this impact the planet, or how does the planet impact my work right now that I'm doing? Um, that's the thought I wanted to share. Again, I'll take a pause. I'll leave it up for discussions. I'm going to hand over to Mukund, but if there are any questions, please feel free to.
Pranay, I have a question actually. So
Yeah.
basically, I started from graphics, okay? So then I expanded to product design. So where I explore a lot of things and I have a knowledge of like how UI work, UX work, product strategy work. So I am reaching a product design role. So it take me like 7 years to do that thing, right? So
Mhm.
there are people who is in the callers who are just starting out maybe in the UI space and UX space. So
Mhm.
if you are the person who are now in the business strategy and those kind of like this is the circle of you are in this position where you are giving helping product build and those kind of things, right? Like, so what is your pathway to do expanding this knowledge base or the this bubble? So what is your thought process of doing this?
All right. Hmm. Please sum that up. So, in actually, I worked for 5 years in my previous company where I told you I was working. We were building safety systems for folk trucks. Uh, I started as a UX designer, by the way, in that company, and I ended up being the director of software engineering for that company. So, I'm not saying that is a standard way how everybody's career progresses, but what did change for me was um, I shared this with some of the folks here. Uh, when I would come up with ideas, like this is the UX, this is what it should look like, this is the look and feel, blah blah blah, and all that stuff. And I didn't, you interact with designers, oh sorry, engineers, developers. They're eventually going to be working on that, and they look at it. Yeah, can't happen. It'll take 6 months to build this. And you're on a very tight deadline. But you're on a very fast-paced deadline where you have to get a basic product out, and you have to ship really fast, and you have to keep working on iterations. Uh, Working with those engineers, then I started to understand, like, okay, why won't it work? What's your challenge? What tools do you use? What services do you use, and so on. And that allowed me to start understanding what do they work with, right? So I started asking questions. I would ask questions. I'd say, hey guys, just out of curiosity, like, how do you make this work? And they would tell me. And so, actually, I would also point, it is sometimes important to have somebody who can explain it well, right? Because if somebody just gives you that same technical jargon that they believe they understand, it may not help you understand something better. But do not have assumptions, keep asking questions, and shadow people who are doing that job. I actually did a scrum I did a agile frameworks training, and I did a scrum certification which helped me understand the project management uh, framework. Like, how do you manage a project? How does it start? How do you break it down? How do you take it to the end? This whole life cycle of even working on a project gives you the understanding, because there will be multiple interactions that will be happening in this life cycle, right? It's you created something, you created a wireframe, right? And now you want this to go live on the website. That is the final objective. But in this journey of this creating a wireframe to the being published on the website, lot of stakeholders are going to interact with you: the engineers, the product manager, the marketing guy, the sales guy, the customer support, or whoever. Different people would reach out and say, like, what happens here, what do you do, how do I get this information from this interface or whatever. And this is where asking questions, doing research, and interacting with those folks becomes important. um, Shadowing people, reaching out to the people you believe where you want to be, following their work, asking questions, I think would be the fastest way uh, to put yourself in those shoes. But basically, that means you have to broaden your vision. You can't just be talking about, and so I think the app should look like this. Fine, but the app is one part of the bigger problem. You have to expand your bubble in which you are talking or having conversations with these gentlemen, or sorry, the folks that you're talking to. Um, yes, the first part would be to broaden your perspective, broaden your vision on how you're interacting with these people higher ups or where you want to be. Again, I hope I've been able to explain that. I'm not sure if it's best.
Yeah, yeah, I kind of understand because I think most of the people also forgot about is like asking questions that they are scared of asking question, but the asking question is the part that helps you learn more than anything else. That is good to know actually.
One thing that you have to let go is of any ego you hold, like, oh, they think I'm stupid, or they think acha tumhe itna bhi nahi aata, like you don't, fine, nahi aata, nobody was born with a map or a guideline on how to live life. You learned it all. Even the engineers or whoever, the managers or whatever, they also learned it at some time, right? They did not know it before that.
Hmm.
So everybody learned something at some point in their life, and you can, if you're open to learning, you can even do that now. I mean, I am
Hmm.
doing that right now. My domain in my current company has totally changed.
Hmm.
I'm working in now defense and aviation. I had absolutely no clue about it before that, but I am learning now, and it's not that hard to grasp. But it just takes hard work and effort as well. So if you're open to learning and you can put in the hard work, you can expand to whatever your role you want.
Okay, okay. Definitely. Do you guys have any other questions or like should we continue with Mugant?
Yeah. At any point of time, please feel free to ask the stupidest of questions. There's nobody
Yes.
judging there. Yeah. I
So
keep
that
telling.
is the point of the answer also.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Geeta.
I get it.
I have a question regarding business strategy here.
Hmm.
But can you comprehensively give around 3 points where a designer can think in that direction of business strategy?
All right. I don't know if I can give you 3 points, but let me just try and make it really concise. Uh, when I say business strategy, it's your ability to understand the objective of the business, like where are they heading, right? What's their mission? What have they decided to achieve, let's say in next 1 year, next 3 years, 5 years, or 10 year, or as a company? That mission will allow you to or their direction where they're heading will allow you to understand what kind of solutions would they be looking for, right? And again, this involves a lot of feedback, not just from the business strategy folks, but also stakeholders, because the business interacting with those stakeholders, supply chain or your customers or your customer support team or whatever, reaching out to those folks as well, like what is the weirdest problem you've come across, what are the most common issues that clients bring up, uh, or to talk to supply chain, like how are you getting stuck somewhere. Like I have asked these questions in my previous company where, um, for example, the supply chain wasn't aware that a new release has gone out, and the product has now more capabilities that they did not know about. And so stuff like that, although it wasn't directly impacting them, they had nothing to do. I mean, they did not have to be worried about anything because the software wouldn't affect their work. You just have to install that copy and it will automatically be updated. Yet it created a sense of doubt or slowness in their part, like, oh, am I on the right version, going around asking questions. A simple step of letting them know will just make it smoother, right? uh, I mean, this is a supply chain example I mentioned, but for customer success, a lot of times they would come back and say, hey, so if my clients are inactive, not being using the product for 2 weeks, I want to reach out to them, for example. But how do I know? So We worked on a capability to allow CSM. We're working the features at times we built were not for the customers, but were for the customer support, so that they can serve the customers better, help them better, or help troubleshoot problems better. Uh, and then again, when I talk about business strategy, for example, in my previous company, they were building autonomous warehouse bots, right? The bot would go around from one place to the other in the facility. That's what they're working on, but they changed their focus totally. They moved into a safety domain where they wanted to start digitizing the inspection checklist. So in industrial setups, you will always perform a checklist before you start using that machinery. From a fork truck to even airplanes, you always do a checklist. They moved into that space now. The whole concept of what you're doing has changed. The personas that you were working for have changed, right? And so it totally changes the way you're going to solve the problems now. Before, you were talking about autonomous bots that are going to be working around the warehouse, and you're talking about these managers, at least well-read people who know how to operate bots and stuff, who'd be interacting with it at least. But now, when you're changing the perspective to digital checklists and so on, which go on each truck, you're interacting with these operators who are like, 10th fail sort of guys, rude, care, couldn't give a beep about what new safety system is there. All they care about is, I need to do my work, I need to do my job, go back home, have a beer, sleep, enjoy my life. That's it. That's all they care about. Suddenly, the whole persona has changed. So the way you are going to tackle that problem will change. You cannot still be thinking about those well-read guys who know how systems may work. We're talking about absolutely dummies for whom the system has to be totally dummified. Um, does that answer your question, Geeta? Unlike,
Yes, I
by
have noted some points. Thanks for that.
the way, feel free to say, no, I have not.
No, no. So the real reason behind the question is I have interns with me, and the way that they think and I want them to think is very different. And I want to convey them how to improve with their strategical approaches towards UX or UI solutions.
Mm,
I mean, I am closely working with the CEO, and they are not really in touch with what he speaks about, what the CEO speaks about, or how he thinks or how he visions about. So
mm,
there's a communication gap here, and I am like trying to grab things up and tell them about some strategies that they have to apply in their solutions. So yeah, with your answers, I did pick up a few points that I can explain them
mm.
and myself too. Thanks for that.
Right. I just add one more thing. Uh, the communication, of course, in this case will go from you to your interns. But there's this very interesting book I'd read, Extreme Ownership, which is, uh, you will be given some orders, and unless you believe in that mission, you cannot share it down towards to your team. So
Right.
if you believe in one mission, just explain to them, this is the objective we're working towards. These are, whatever your CEO's goal is, it's not a personal mission for somebody. And it's not like the CEO is saying, mere ko 100 crore ka ghar kharidna hai, so therefore we are going to do X, Y, and Z, right?
Mm.
It's a mission for the company. And so
Mm.
whatever you're building is eventually towards that common objective. So that's what we're working for. Nobody's personal ambitions are included in that mission. So that is what we have to work towards.
Right. In fact, we have to think a bit more than what they are expecting or what they are visioning about.
Mm.
Give something extra to them.
Right.
Right. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you for the question, Geeta.
Pranay, there is one more last question. Like we will take this last question also. The question is like, this is from Lulu. So when you're working on a project, how do you decide whether to focus on UI UX details or step back to look at a system as a whole?
I would say, always define the periphery in which you're going to work first, and then you come down to the final detail of what will your system look like. Because if you define the periphery, then you can decide whether you want to I don't know if Aditi and Aman are here. They are also part of the Culture group, and they worked on a project for a bakery in Lucknow to revamp their app. But before they revamped the app or did anything with the app, they first understood the whole context, like what is this company, what are the different services they offer. They went and interviewed people, their experiences and everything. And the final solution was working on UI and UX, because now when you have the understanding of the total, space within which you're operating, then you say, okay, so many things exist in this space. How can I include all of that in my final solution? And they will impact your final solution. So to start with defining the field within which you're working, the periphery, and then coming down to your UI UX final solution is what I'd say.
Okay. So that covers Lulu. There is one more question. Should we take this question now? Should we continue with the moving, and after that, should we take it?
I can give this answer. Let's start with
Okay.
that answer only. Putting our points, I think there is no point. Everyone knows whatever we are going to teach now, so it's better to clear doubts first. Then that will be more beneficial and that will be more engaging. So let's take this question. We are usually taught to think from the user's perspective and focus on their needs. But how can we also learn to think from business perspective? Do these two perspectives need to intersect, or does one carry more weight than the other?
Good question.
Good question. So see, it's all depends on opportunity. For me also, there are some designers and interns are working, so they have some space there where there are they have told to be and work around that area. Okay, so someone is sitting at their place and working on a design, and someone is sitting at office and visiting to client place. They have more exposure, and one sitting at the home and working and taking the instruction from managers or the senior designers, and they're working on. So we can't expect that they will understand the business whole together. Okay, but at some time, as a designer, what we can think, we can ask questions. That's the only thing. If you're working on a design and we just take instruction from manager and do our job, that is fine. That for that also you are hired, but you are also hired, or you are also hired as a designer, as a business owner, whatever project you are working on. You are not just hired for to give a asked solution. You can give more than that. Okay, so whatever you are asked, you have got as an assignment to design on. That's the basic thing, like what Pranay said. You understand the whole area, where your product will go and serve the problem. Okay, serve the that problem and solution, all of that. So for that perspective, you have to understand the whole business area. If you don't understand business, you will only end up with the user thinking, what user will think, what this is good for user or not. End of the day, if you think only about user, business will not get benefited. Okay, so if you want to survive, or if company want to, all of UX designer is surviving because business is surviving. If there is no business, we will die. Okay, so we have to work for business. We have to provide solution for business so that they can thrive, and users is the end user who is using their products. So we need to, as a designer, we always need to think about business, how this user problem business is solving, and how we can give our value on that. So that's the thing. And this intersect and all these questions, the business is the bigger area, and the design thinking is where we are designing this. You are saying now, focus on their needs, user needs. This all covers on that business needs only, business solving a problem for the users. If we solve that problem, user problem will also solve automatically.
I want to add one point to what Mukund said. Uh, Sometimes don't create watertight compartments of what a user is, what business. Sometimes it may be fluid. The point to consider is, what is the objective you're trying to achieve, right? Who is it for? Is it for the business? Is it for the user that you're thinking about? And there may be multiple stakeholders, so you try to balance both their needs. If they are divergent, user needs something, the business needs something, then again, that is a question you will have with your team. Somebody in higher authority, the CEO, whoever that may be, will decide, okay, we are going to focus on business needs, not the user need, right? But and that is in the case when objectives are diverging, right? But otherwise, you have to ask yourself, who is it? This objective suffices requirements for whom, right? That's when okay, like, is it, where are you working?
Thank you, Mukund and Pranay.
Geeta also have a question actually. Geeta, do you want to ask?
Regarding the previous topic itself, um, so it's basically said, it could be humorous or somewhere. The people, the higher management often uses this statement, this sentence, that user doesn't know what he wants. That's a very I don't know, it covers a lot within one statement. It includes strategies that we have to apply, or it includes what design components kya kya hone chahiye, everything, a lot of things. So when someone says user don't know what he needs, how can we cover this up?
Okay, you want to take that, or I'll go?
Yeah, you can.
If such is the case, see, I'd say the user doesn't know what they need about what. Like, are you talking about your solution, that they don't know what they want from your solution, or they don't know what they want from a particular kind of service? User is living a life, right? So perhaps the best thing is to go understand what their life is, and then try to define, how does your solution even come into the picture, or does it really come into the picture, or actually is it something that they don't really need, right? I could share an example. During my masters, we were working on we were given a problem statement for academic purposes, how to make social acceptance for older females living in metro areas. That was the problem statement, right? 70 plus people, how can you make them feel more socially acceptable? That was the problem. And the first idea that the whole group came up together was some very advanced tech POS, a system where they could interact, ask for help, reach out in emergency or whatever and everything. And that was a very fancy idea, like, yeah, wow, this is great and everything. And when we did the user research, we realized old people don't like technology so much. At least the ones that we interviewed, they don't even use their phone so much. And we're talking about a highly digital interface and complex stuff and so on. We changed our solution because that's not what they needed. And then we came up with another idea of what was the idea? The Grandma Talks, a radio show where grandmothers come from different areas of Italy, and they talk about their experiences, maybe talk about the recipes that they've shared, or interfacing the teenagers with the grandmas. Like, teenager, somebody has a heart broken or something, and grandma says, oh, come on, it'll be fine, you'll find many other girlfriends or whatever. Like, just giving example of where the social acceptance, the idea that we were working on, the solution that we first designed was not at all useful. So you could reiterate and understand. To answer your question, the user doesn't know. The user knows how to live their life, right? Where are you trying to come into their life? And so how could you affect their life? So maybe try to understand their life instead of saying, how could they use your solution, right, in their life? The first question is to how do they live their life? And then you can do the analysis yourself, if you fit in there or not.
True. I
Yes.
got it. I got the point. Thanks.
All right. I think
We move to
yeah,
next one.
let's pass the baton on to Mukund.
Yeah.
So Mukund, let me know every time you're going to go ahead.
I'm thinking that whether this will like really needed. What actually we covered everything. Like whatever I have given there, we have discussed a lot of things. Like we can
Do you want to summarize it or quickly?
Yeah, the summary was like only like whatever you told, like this is all about like what for which we are working, for which we generally work for businesses and business work for users. Indirectly we work for user, what they want, how they are living their life, and how our solution will fit in their life, how we are solving their day-to-day problem, whatever that can be, it for businesses problem, it can for user problem. So that's the only thing, like we ask whatever we are working, we ask more, we understand more, we bring something which is really needed. Most of the time what I saw, that business comes with a solution, like we want to build something, and that goes without any interview, without any understanding the needs. And when the product start use means when user starts using that product, they don't need actually whatever we built as a solution. So again, we do scratch all of that, and then now we started that thing, like understand the user, understand the business goal, change the business goal, all of that. So that is something around that only. And most of the points we have already discussed and covered. Like we can go into like question answer. If there are more questions, we can
Oh,
discuss more.
also, I think the presentation will give more clarity on people to understand in a structured way. Even though we answer like question like touching different points, your presentation will give a structured idea of like what are the things. So I think like it's better to go with it like in a very fast pace with the presentation, then
Yes.
like answer the question, right? Otherwise, the effort you put into also will not be right. So yeah, that is why my thought. You guys can decide upon that.
Yes. Yeah, Sam, you're also right. So yeah, so the first thing is like understanding the business goal clearly, like for which we are working. And every business is all depend on revenue growth, cost reduction, and retention of the users, and the efficiency of using of that product. You can ask, like you should ask always, what does success means for the business, whatever the solution you are building or we're working. So how you will decide that this product or this solution is turned into a success metrics? So that question you need to ask, like why you are thinking, means whatever instruction you are getting from your senior, from your customer, from your client, whatever. So you need to ask like saying yes, we will do that. That is the end thing everyone is doing. But if you have any doubt, if you have any means, if that is not clear, then you can ask that, why are you thinking like this way, what this will affect in your business goal, like how it will impact your end business result. So all of that you can ask. Okay, so that asking question. So if we are building any company is building an e-commerce solution, they will look into like how my product will sell more, how the more purchases will happen. For SaaS product, we can, like business always ask for like how my subscription will go more. So as a designer, we don't only think like we make things better and the subscription will rise. So as a designer, we need to understand that whole periphery, which is that business is going giving that solution. Okay, from top to bottom, we need to understand how lot of thing will impact. Okay, just a small solution will change into like lot of subscription, lot of conversion. So that's thing we need to always find, that what sweet spot where business needs also comes together and the user problem also solved there. So that is that thing, like if you understand business, if you understand user, if you understand user need properly, always we can bring something which is fit for them. Yeah.
But,
Next one.
right. By the way, adding to what Mukund said, if you're thinking about higher renewal of subscriptions, it eventually goes back to who's subscribing, users. Why will they subscribe? Because of
Yes.
whatever they like. So again, you're down to the user, like why, what do they need? But eventually keeping in mind the business needs, like Mukund said.
Yeah, so that's the here, like knowing users more deeply, like who are they, student, parent, buyer, doctor, shop owner or business owner, whatever they are, understanding them better, like more deeply. What do they need, expect, struggle, whatever they are expecting with the solution, whatever solution they are using, are they struggling with, and whatever their need, if we are fitting our solution, all of this around of this. Okay, what motivates them to act, like for every product there will be like, if you're building a product, your product will work better or your solution will work better. Like if anyone is using without any complexity and you are giving a solution same like that, and top of that you are giving more of features of that, which is serving more solution for their struggle, and like whatever they are finding difficulties using that product, so then your product will be fit for them, like they will use more your product. So that you need to understand that you and that will be done with the understanding user your deep, means if you understand your users deeply, that will help you bring that solution properly to them. Okay, so that's the around thing. Like it's all about understanding your users. If you don't connect with users real pain points, whatever they are facing, the pain points, the beautiful thing will not work from them. Yeah. Next. Pranay. Yeah. So again, like we need to understand this is all the business understanding, like whatever solution we are giving from business perspective, that we need to understand that whatever solution they are using, users, where the users are dropping off, like not liking it, not using it. Okay, where they are getting confused, where do they feel lack of trust, are they finding any kind of difficulties to trust the product or use of that product, that we need to understand as a designer, as a product designer, as a UX designer, or maybe at a UI designer level also. If we think this perspective, we can grow ourselves, like. So that's why we need to understand more beyond our duty, like we can move forward and we can understand more about businesses and more about users who will use that business solution. Okay, that identifying the fixing these bottlenecks has direct impact on revenue, which will impact the business. Next.
Right. By the way, learn how to get feedback, because that is what you need. Even if you've done something, done out in the world, get feedback on how it. Learn how to get that. Get feedback. Do a research. Do a course. There are courses on IxDF or other portals online. How to interact with people. How to reach out. What are good ways to reach out to people? Smooth, easy ways to do it. Get feedback. How to do research. That will always help you. Build better the next time, if not already.
Yeah. So related to that only, I will give one example. I was working with Mercedes-Benz. So they were building a product for weight managers. The managers who are building, like who were responsible to uh, uh, means giving the products which is fitting into car, like whatever weight is there, they need to build a solution that suppose we are launching a car in the market. So there are certain parameters which need to take care related to weight. If weight is below than that threshold, it will not sanction in, they will not get the license. If it is more than that weight, that the license will be cancelled. So they have to very particular with the weight, and for that they are building a solution which was in the Excel sheet. So some means I came to that project in between, but earlier someone were doing related to that solution only. They were building some solutions, they were building some UI and UX around of that product and all. So when I joined and when I started to, because I don't have very typical UX learning background, like whatever I learned by doing, because I started my career as a logo designer, then I moved into a lot of things and I have understand directly from the customers. My journey of freelancing is around 13-14 years, so I have been freelancing from day one actually. So I have always interacted with customer, end user, who will use my product, my solution directly. So what I understood when I joined that company, so there are a lot of gap is there with the user, and users where they are sitting in the Germany, and Germany people will not find easy to talk with Indian peoples. Okay, so that's where whenever I was going to ask any kind of question to the weight managers, I was not getting any answers. And what I was building a solution for weight managers. There is a huge challenge. And last, the designer who was working, he was building something based on assumptions. So whatever solution they were providing week by week, sprint by sprint, they all are going in vain. Okay. So what I found a sweet spot, like I started with means what I say, I started with like a friend, like I started to communicate with them personally in the teams. How are you? Good morning, good night. How are you doing? How was your day? I started to learn German language to communicate with that language, so that they can feel like Mukund is trying something to means mix with us. Okay. So that what I started. It took me 1.5 months, more than 1.5 months, but they find it, means one of the guy find it very means he find it made very friendly. So he started little bit communicating related to product. I haven't asked anything about the product. I was always asking day by day, what are you doing, how you coming to office, what is your day, how you do this kind of calculation for your car part and this part. Slowly I started understand how weight managers work from 9 to 6. Okay, and that's how I got the challenges. Oh, this was the challenges, this is the challenges, and if we bring these challenges into a solution, then they will like it. So for that period, like I took 2 months, it was very slow and steady, but I was giving that confidence that I will do something for them. So I got that chance, and within 7 months I given a product which were currently they are using as a software, and they are very happy, and the purpose was to build a solution around that. That is accomplished. So if I was rigid that nah, they are not answering, I will not do that, there was always a solution. So I choose this way so that I become a friend of them, and I will understand the challenges, and I will do the task which is I got. So this is how I learned and asked questions, and I moved beyond my job role. So this is how we have to do with our job. Like for an example, currently I am building a clinic management solution. So doctor asked me to build a solution within 1 month, which was impossible for me. But I took that challenge. I stayed clinic for 15 months. I haven't asked anything to anyone, because whenever I was going to asking, they were saying, sir, baad mein aana, I am busy, this is clinic time, doctor is not answering, but I need to build something. So I started to visit as a medical representative there. So their clinic time was 10 to 2, 4 to 6. So I usually visit to 4 to 6. I used to there, I sit there, I observe patients, I observe doctor, I observe all employees who are working there, pathology department, I have observed everything I have observed, and I made a complete list. I bring that list to my designers and developers. I given that goal, and I have not instructed anything like you have to design this UI, that UI. Just I need I have a problem, you need to build a solution. And with the 1 year zero experience, I got one intern with the zero experience, I got one developer, zero intern. They both build a solution which is now doctor is using, 5 doctors are using, and they are doing very good actually. So being into the place and understand it better will always help you.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I'm very happy to hear that experience. Very nice.
So as a designer, I could have been done a lot of research, lot of documentation provided to the designer. They will come with a lot of questions. So end of the day, we will not build anything. So it's better execute, learn, refine, ask, refine, then launch. That's it.
Right.
Someone is asking to explain the point in the.
Yeah, for
Explain
for
the
all of
PPT.
this, I haven't prepared any PPT. This is around this only. Like if you want to bring something to the businesses, you need to understand that's next screen. You can go, Pranay.
Okay.
Yeah, that is balancing business need and user needs. So again, the same thing, like most of the things we all know that business wants growth plus revenue, user want ease, trust, value. Great design find the sweet spot for the businesses. How can we achieve business goal without frustrating or tricking user? And this trick thing, everyone is tricking nowadays for the users, like to increase numbers there, like their business numbers, they want to trick a lot of users. So you will find that dark pattern in every kind of D2C brands they are using to upsell more, and they increase their card value. So there are a lot of doing like default check on those things which is not needed for the user, but they do. Sometimes my wife ordering something which is not needed and came to at home. So she was not aware that how it came, because it was added in the cart and she accepted. Like for some reason, the button was primary and she didn't read it because she was in hurry, and it came to at home. And now she's saying, I don't need, I want to return. It got returned. We got payment, but this hassle was not needed. So, but the businesses are doing things, and sometimes as a UX designer, we know everything, but we can't do anything because we can't go beyond that area. But what we can do, whenever we bringing anything to the customer and the users, we can take care all of these, and we do that. That's our learning, that how we can do in our part when we got the chance to do for the users. So now it's my part. I am designing a lot of solution for the user, so I am keeping these things in mind so that they will not feel hassle. Okay. And when I will also work with corporate, I need to do a lot of things which is not valid. It is a dark side, but we have to do because they need as a business. So that's, we find many of us will find this kind of problem. So that is there. But always we need to balance our business, like whatever for the business we are working, and the user will use that business solution. Yeah, next slide. That's it. Like test, measure, iterate. Like you give solution, you will get a feedback, you take a feedback, you understand the feedback and iterate that, and but in all of that you measure how your product is doing, what is the pain point they are facing, even after even giving the solution. So I change that thing and give something which is they are looking into. And this is a long process. Like whatever solution I have given, I also usually get a lot of call from the users, like they are using the clinic management as, and they are getting some problem, and they are giving me the, like I am facing this issue, I am facing that issue. So we are iterating and we are giving that. So day by day we are building something which is more useful for them. So yeah. So yes, in one line, what matters most is how the problem will solve, how the business will drive more, this like more money and more outcome from that solution, and how user will get benefited for that. Not only just design looking better and give it to the user and they're not using it. Yeah.
I mean, I enjoyed that conversation. Thank you, Akin. But by the way, I'd say, guys, please, if you, we may be presenting our ideas here, but feel free to challenge and say, no, I don't agree to this or whatever. You know, I have had a different experience or whatever.
Yes.
Let's talk about that. But I want to add one more analogy, maybe just for all the discussion that we've had so far. It's just a matter of, you know, elevating yourself and looking at the bigger picture. And to give an analogy, imagine if you're trekking somewhere in the forest, right? Let's say Jim Corbett, mein kahin pe you're trekking. One is you're in the woods walking, right? And you're trying to navigate your way. Oh, there's the trees there. I am probably listening a river close by or whatever, but you don't have the information. You're trying to navigate your way, right? And it'll take time and effort to navigate where you are, where you're heading. You don't know what the geography is like. But imagine if you had a drone flying above you. That drone, depending on how high the drone is, you'd know what the geography looks like. Oh, there's a cliff there, I don't need to go there. There's a river, I need to follow that river. There are steps going down, whatever. Just by elevating your point of view, there's more information for you to decide how you want to proceed. It's, I mean, as simple as that. So the idea to take away is not to make watertight compartments on, I'm a designer, I'm a UX guy, I'm a UI girl, whatever, and stay within those confines. You're a solution provider, right? And that may involve moving through a large expanse of space through, you know, customer support, marketing, engineers, CEOs, or whatever. But to be able to navigate through that, why? Because you have an objective in your head that this is what I want to achieve. Anytime you feel stuck, what am I doing? What should be done here? Just zoom out and look at the broader objective. What do you need to achieve, right? And that again will give you direction. Again, I'll take a pause here. Please feel free to, you know, challenge, have questions, discuss, jokes.
I think that's it, the question from the people. I have one question was there, like in the 21 slide, there is a example of something. So, oh yeah, this one. So this someone is asking like what is that example kind of? Can you explain the example properly?
Yes,
Mukund?
yes. So if you see, I think you have seen WordPress websites. like they are built on WooCommerce and they have some checkout process. In that checkout process, what you are doing, you are adding a product and that is going to checkout. That is going to checkout page. You have a cart page, then a checkout page. So user, what you are doing, they are adding a product. They are going to cart page. In cart page, you have coupon, you have updating the product, all of that. Again, you are seeing that what are the shipping charges and all of that. Then you are going to a checkout page. Okay. So in checkout page, you are filling all of your personal details and all of that you are doing. Okay. And then you are going to checkout. When you clicking on checkout, it asking to log in. Okay. It was the earlier WooCommerce thing or whatever there. Okay. So for that, users were finding a lot of challenges, like so many steps just to make a payment and get the product. So that was a matrix where user are finding difficulties. That where a plugin comes in and says that you install me and your WordPress websites is whatever checkout process with into 3 steps will convert into 1 step. So what happened if you install that plugin, that your multi-step checkout form convert into 1 page, and there only they will see, the user can see whatever products they have added, just like a Flipkart and a Shopify website. You see product is there, your details are there, where it delivering, you can see what type of mode is there, and all of that you are selecting in single page and you are checking out. Okay, after just adding the products. Okay, so this have increased the sales for that businesses. Okay, so this one easy solution increases the revenue for that business. Okay, and this came from a designer who found this problem and bring that solution, and that built a plugin, and that plugin also benefited him and also benefited the businesses who uses them. So this is the example. Like you always find that if your checkout process is less, you will get more orders if your product is good.
By the way, adding to this, for people who are building their resumes and portfolios, if you are able to quantify your experience in terms of metrics, how Mukund has shared here, it always gives a better impression that this person, has that ability to break down emotions and soft stuff into quantifiable metrics. This is where data analytics comes into mind. It's okay if you don't, but it's always nice to have that. I see Ajay raised hand. Yeah.
Yeah, Pranay, I actually have a question related to the thing you said right now. I actually work with startups, probably build their initial systems where quantifiability is not something that they have hands on. Right. Say I work on a business website, which was just raw as an idea. Right. I did the research, I created the website, I worked on their product. Right. The initial traction is probably something that can be quantifiable. It's not much though. Right. So how should we portray it in our portfolio?
See, there will always be numbers to quote, and it's not always key business made revenue so much more, and therefore that's the metric you want to quantify. If you can't, you can always quantify how much research did you reached out a sample of 20 people, 25 for the particular project or whatever, or you could say you could quantify this is the amount of components that you designed or whatever. Just quantifying your work. It not always is necessary कि हर बार result ही हो उस show करने के लिए, right? You could even quantify the work that you've done. This is the amount of this is how much I worked at this place, and you're quantifying in numbers, not just an expression of feeling. कि I did a lot of handle the entire design system. Good. What does that design system look like, right? Was it just 4 components? Was it like 100 components? So you could always quantify. Numbers will always be there. Mukund in this case has been able to show ki, look, I helped generate more 50% more sales conversion is a metric he had. You will have different metrics, and that's absolutely fine. But you can always attempt at getting information from higher ups, whoever has that information. Hey, did this change, or this new feature, did it help, did it work, what kind of feedback are we getting? And you can try and quantify it that way. So business metrics like what Mukunda shared here, ki, revenue increase hua, churn rate come ho gaya, customer satisfaction improved or whatever, stuff like that is always good. But if not, if you're working, if you haven't reached that stage, still you can quantify your work. It just shows that, yeah,
Yeah,
you.
for a basic, say, I will be writing one case study based on again an aviation company called Fly 91. Uh, okay, it's a regional airlines which is connecting tier 2 and tier 3 cities to metro cities. At its core, from again, pardon my language, but it's a shit website when I see it.
Mhm.
Okay. Uh, I went through it. I found out so many things that can hinder their revenues. Right? Just like Atharva asked, that can we share estimated impact of whatever we are suggesting? So is it okay if we do it? Estimated impact or probably something.
You,
Just
you can
ballpark a number.
absolutely. You can also approximate. Say, if you can say approximately 15%. What do you say? Churn reduction in customer or whatever. You can approximate as well. Yes, but basically, when you give metrics, it just helps the other person also understand in a quantifiable way, right? There's one thing, for example, I recommend against is the resume mein when you put, ki proficiency, for example, ki Photoshop or Illustrator or some tool, and you just show a bar, you know,
How much?
Skill set. कि भाई
exactly.
कितना proficiency है, right?
The proficiency will mean different things, right? What you believe is a 8 on 10 or a 9 on 10 would be very different for somebody else, right? But if you say I'm certified Adobe whatever professional, Photoshop professional, that assigns a certain credibility that ye level hai bande ka, right? Uh, so stuff like that, to be have a quantifiable way to assess something ki what does something mean, मतलब अपनी subjectivity को बाहर थोड़ा सा दूर करके think of user experience for the interviewer, uh, the guy who's the person who's interviewing you. What should you what information do you want them to know when they're interviewing you, right? And it should come out straight across, not have ambiguity. How can you do that, right? So that's the thing. Yeah.
Awesome. Got it. Thank you.
My other thing is like even if you're adding all these metrics and stuff, you need to like let them know that this is true. I seen people just blindly adding numbers that cannot like
Possible.
the research that they've done and like the metrics that I have don't go well with the thing. So the even if adding this kind of metrics, right, it should have something that convinces people that this is the approximate metric. So then only it makes sense. Otherwise, something like adding metrics, you think, okay, I designed this thing, this have gone like reached this much people, so it may be 50. So there will be some point of that kind of conclude this to this approximately amount should be something that you also need to consider. Don't go blindly because
I think
they will ask you,
thing,
right?
Shan. I mean, do you have something in mind? Like you're referencing this?
No, because the thing is like I have done interviews in the past and they will say like 25% growth in revenue or something. And I in a business way, I may think that this is like, but when I ask them like in terms of how they increase your design, increase the revenue, they say they don't have an idea. The revenue increases because of the business people pushing it to the clients and those kind of. So the impact is not from the design side; it's an impact from the business side. But they thought like this is impact because of the design side, right? So that is they are not able to connect it properly way because they design is done very well. So the business people able to use it properly to generate their revenue. So that is the connection. But that connection you should have in the mind is what I am saying when you are presenting. Don't go blindly on numbers, but to present it in a way that it makes sense to the people who's because the percentage in the resume and stuff you will add like values and the people who is going to interview will ask you and if you say that will not connect then they will understand this is like not make sense. So think about that also when adding approximate value.
Huh.
So
By
that
the
is
way,
why.
you use ChatGPT,
Yeah.
I do it several times. See, like, this is the work that I've done or whatever. Can you help me quantify? Like, the idea of using ChatGPT is not to get a full perfect answer, but it's to give you a sense of framework. Kind how to structure something, and you build on top of it. Like Shayan said, don't feed wrong information. Like 50% revenue बढ़ गया है. Like you should be able to back that up with an answer. If somebody like Shayan asks, like, how did you do it? How did you assess that? So that'll show it'll show a process, a thought process. Like, yeah, this guy went, reached out, this is the information he or she collected, and that's how they've been able to ascertain key 50% impact. So you should have the answers to the whys. Why something. Right. Athar.
I have some question.
Yeah, hi. Great discussion here, guys. Loving it so far. So adding to the metrics part, I mean, it's good that we add metrics to quantify a design. Just like I mentioned that I can't measure a specific impact of a product since it was a project of redesign and I had no access to the actual software to measure the metrics. So I added estimated impact. So like improving this design will improve the speed of the task completion rate and so forth. But what about those things we can't quantify? Let's say a small micro animations or a user delight that we add, that also impacts the whole experience. And so the hot take here is like the designers often feel like they have to defend every single choice they make with numbers as if they are constantly on trial because design is so visual. Anyone can glance at it and throw opinions, even if those opinions are vague. So how do we actually go about and quantify those unquantifiable and explain or justify those decisions that we make?
Again, like who's putting you on the fire? Uh, who- like my question is like, where do you feel like designers have to justify every time? I mean, I would assume that to be true for an interview. Yes, you should be put on fire. But besides that, I don't think if you're working, you need to quantify to your manager. Look, this is the input. This is the outcomes I've achieved. Oh yes, of course. If you're talking about your appraisal, yes, you want to again highlight that this is the impact I've had. Again, by the way, it does help a lot with appraisals that to say I've done a great job versus to say, look, these many customers I work with. I've got 5 raving reviews from my clients, whoever we work for. Again, to be able to quantify your outcome uh, against a standard statement of I did a great job always helps. But to then you have to again change your perspective. Like, how do you want to quantify? It's not always to say from A to B I went. Sometimes you quantify the journey. I had to take 5 different paths to finally reach here. Or it's not always outcome, but you could also quantify the journey if you don't have an outcome to measure directly. But to your point where you said I made something micro animations, um, uh, like do a survey, like YouTube, when you watch these videos, they've added a new button, right? Jump ahead. And a moment later, a feedback form will come. How does it make you feel? So perhaps doing surveys could reaching out to clients and asking for opinions could be one thing. Um, Again, I feel short here on an explanation because I haven't done worked on micro animations as an example. Maybe somebody who has done something to collect feedback on that note could share.
I think like the quantifying thing for each and every part of design is very difficult to do. But in some point of time, what we can do that the usability testing part of all this thing, then after designing something and doing user testing, is to identify are they able to do this thing process faster with the design you've done. That can be any one solution you can do. So like that is why the A/B testing comes, because different products release a different kind of version in different places to test. Okay, this may work in this part. Like Instagram, for example, right? Some people get certain feature update and they test with this much people and see if that work for them or not working. They will change this stuff too. So that kind of stuff. Also, every design thing. I don't know. Every organization will be able to do this. Once you have a design, you can test with few people, you can test with other people in the organization, where you can see how they interact with the product, how they think. So it kind of understand, you can understand like this, maybe they are struggling with this thing, maybe they done it faster because of the this certain small element you've done. So that kind of quantification you can do. Maybe adding interaction, for example, can also help. For example, if the, for example, thread, if the internet grow down, thread have done something called that like snake and ladder thing. So what that do is like it given thing to do, or also the dinosaur game when it comes when the internet go down, right? So that are just micro thing that help people to do certain things in the gap. So this is something don't need to be quantified, but this is something element that can add value to the thing. But some, I understand some of the managers will ask you, why did you add this thing here? Why did you add thing? So for that, you can do it testing with the user. It will be something that I prefer to do most of the time.
There's one more thing that came in my head. Uh, I was thinking of moments when I've had good experiences with products or services. Think about it. If you enjoyed something, what's the next thing that'll happen? You'll come back again for that product or service. Maybe that is if you could relate, again, not to claim that this was exactly the outcome of your work, but you could always say, after this release or whatever, stuff you built, you saw a change in visitor increase or whatever, right? More footfall, longer times of people waiting on the website. These are all values you could associate with experience that people are having, right? If I did not like that, the shitty website you said, the times would be much lower, right? Per page, or the total time you spend on the website. But if you're enjoying the website, you'd spend more time, click through rates would be higher. The conversions, the number of steps the person goes further in your website would increase. So these are then metrics to explore, like what all can I talk about, right? Unrelate to my work, because you've published something and since then things have improved. So again, yeah.
Yes.
Any other
I just
question?
want to add few more points to that interaction.
Go ahead, Nagishi.
Yeah, maybe like whenever we are doing micro interactions, first maybe we need to ask ourselves why we are doing that. Is it necessary, or it's just as a like something to make it feel good? If it is necessary, then we can say like it's to like acting as a call to action button, or to focus something, or to tell user that this is where they need to click or something, like rather than tricking them at the checkout or something, like just making them explore that option, something like that. Maybe this also acts as a quantifiable thing, right?
Mhm. I would add to that, Nagishi, micro interactions may not always be necessary, because you can simply have a button saying next, and that does the job. But adding a micro interaction of how it feels like when you interact with it, it's a lot about making somebody feel happy. But again, that feeling happy could be translated into holding people onto your website. That is an important metric for the company. I want people to spend more time on my website or my app, and therefore, like, think about Duolingo. I love that app. Does a great job of how it makes you feel every time you accomplish something, of your interacting with the whole app. uh, it's a lot about making me feel nice and wanting me to come back. So yeah,
Yeah.
but I agree to what you said. Yeah. Atharv.
Yeah, I mean, totally. When micro animations or any sort of micro interactions are not totally necessary. Without them, the product can also function very smoothly. But those things actually add to the experience, and you can't quantify them. I don't think you can quantify them because it's an experience and people don't know how to calculate happiness per se. And
But Athar, I'll add a point to to Nagashri's point. If you're making a cake, the bread has to go first and then the frosting. The frosting cannot be first. So if micro animation is the first thing you're thinking about and not the rest of the space, then yeah, perhaps you have to put the bread first and then put the frosting and then the cherry and sprinkles and everything. So that should be the order. If you cannot do it all in once, break it out into phases. I mean, we've done that several times. Like, एक feature बनाया, A, B, C, D, चार चीजें it can do. You discuss with the developer, like, there's only time for A, B, and A and B. So okay, fine, we'll do A and B right now. C will be phase 2 or D will be phase 3 and so on. You can always break down the work, not to get disheartened ki, oh, whatever I also built C and D, but it's not getting implemented. Fine, it'll happen again in the next phase, and you push for it. Like, let's do C, and so on, because now we've already built A and B. Right.
totally, I mean, foundation is the most important thing, and those things are actually like the sprinkles on top of the cake. Yeah.
Right.
Any other question, guys? I am not saying any question. What do you think? Other question? Yeah.
This is not a question as such, but I think a lot of designers might be relating to this. So whenever we show a product or a work that to your stakeholders, it becomes sort of necessary to justify your decisions. But that justification can be sort of draining also at certain points, because let's say the stakeholders ask why this button here, or why this color here, or this layout feels off.
Yeah.
That thing also comes from a lot of experience and intuition as a designer, and you can't justify it in like with design thinking or actually putting UX laws into that. That thing is also intuition. So I think this justification also is sort of draining. But yeah, I mean, how come do we overcome that constant back and forth between the stakeholders? Because see, with technical things like code, you can't actually comment on that since it's so technical. But design is is so vague and subjective that everyone has an opinion to your work.
I will disagree, Tarun, on that. I think there should always be a reason for why something is selected. It may not always be like, blue represents trust and that's why I've used it here. Fine, that represents trust, but I'm Airtel. My brand is, recognized by the red color. I cannot have blue. Or the Indian team jersey cannot be yellow or happy or something else, because you recognize those colors. There are different ways you recognize or understand colors, and those meanings could be different. If you're representing India somewhere or representing China or whatever, you could not use different colors, right? Even though whatever logic or meaning it may hold. So there could be different ways of how to assess the color, but color I'm taking as an example since you mentioned that. But there always should be a decision or reason for why you choose something. It should not be intuitive, because if it's intuitive, then you cannot expand or scale onto it.
It can be biased also.
So I would say, yeah. And again, the whole organization will come into agreement on what is it you're going ahead with, but it should not be left to intuition. Is what I'm
And that always be there. If 10 people are sitting there, always someone will say something. So that's not a problem, and that's not, I will say, you see, like a training thing. That's a part of journey. आज भी है, कल भी रहेगा, पहले भी था. That's a part of life. Like, you awake, always not be the same day, same night. So just ignore and move ahead. So in my 13 years of experience, I have seen a lot of things. Like some designers are now selling life insurance to many of them. Some are doing that, some are doing that, and I am doing this. So this is all something like, you don't go very deep on so many things. You just enjoy your journey and you will find something somewhere, something good in your life. That is 100% sure. And don't think too much. If you think too much, you will go to depression and overthinking. You just enjoy. That's it. Nowadays, I'm seeing a lot of designer think too much. Sir, I am a designer. How will I move to UX? I am a coder. How I'll do UX? Find this, that. No, why enjoy karo? Just enjoy your life, man.
So I also have want to add something. Like for example, you are sitting in a talk with the CEO of the company, and they're asking each and every point about all the things you have done, right? So it's like even though they are draining your energy, they are draining their energy also, right? They are trusting you as a UI designer because you know the job and they need to trust you. So it's like even if I am CEO and I am sitting a day and design talking about the problem in one design, that means I am not trusting the people I am working in the company, and I don't have the trust, and it kind of make a momentum of where the UI people also don't get trained by all the things. So this is not only your problem. They are losing their business because of they are spending a lot of money. So it's about like the stress between the team and those kind of thing. But as a designer, your job is also to tell them why did you choose those kind of things. I am also a person who don't say everything have a reason to do, but you don't may not need to justify some of the things are done from your experience, like the using the color, using those spacing. That has a few example, but that thought also have some reason, right? That you can explain them. That is the thing. But the training part is like that is a part of thing that depends on the people you are working with. It is not only affecting you, it also affecting their business also. That is why most of the stakeholders are hiring people who they trust and kind of you go with the intuition they have. So if you are facing this thing in the any organization that you are having, then I think they are also facing that in their business also.
This I just remembered. I have had an experience like what Athar said, like very subjective, but where it happens, where the company is very art oriented, fashion companies, or not Mintra like. Mintra is very corporate, but you know bespoke fashion houses or whatever, where that arty feeling becomes more important. There you may have a challenge, like somebody has a personal taste on what looks nice or good or whatever. Again, they would leverage on their taste, but that is one place where you may have problems. Otherwise, in corporates or like in organizations, or mostly the ones that we usually work with, you should always have a reasoning. This is why, if it's not the color psychology, it's because the brand colors are like this, so this is what people recognize, or this is what the symbolic value of this color is for people around the world or whatever. But there'll be some reason, not just acha lag raha tha, felt good. That's not a good enough reason. But again, yeah.
मैंने तो अपने करियर में बहुत कुछ अच्छा लग रहा था करके बिता, मतलब दे दिया, अच्छा लगा नहीं लगा, चलते रहना है बस, just move ahead.
See, agreed, but that can pass off, like when your clients are also not that much into like why this color or something. They would, like Shayan said, right? Your clients would depend on your credibility of being a designer and doing a job well done for them. So the point is, just have an answer always. But it can pass off sometimes, but always do have an answer. Okay.
Great.
Anything else you guys want to ask? Or should we wrap up? I think we crossed the time like 8 minutes.
See, again, you can quantify this. If the meeting was so interesting, it went 8 minutes past over the scheduled time after
So
that.
we done like 8 minutes of good.
And I will stay here for 1 p.m. and I will quantify that no one is there, but I will quantify that my session gone 30 minutes more. That vague number.
25%.
25% increase.
33% increase. Yeah.
So I interview a lot of designers. So I come with a lot of things like They say something when they sit on system, they work, they do different. I say,
Mhm.
what are you guys doing?
I already took a screenshot of 24 people joined, so to say that 24 people joined the meetup. So in LinkedIn also I have the metrics to show.
By the way, so before we disperse everybody, I'd like to lay seeds for another topic that I believe would be very interesting. Shan, everybody, please chime in. But the topic is second order thinking, yeah, for design. We often work with first order thinking. Um, for those, I mean, I'm just assuming if somebody doesn't understand, first order is you had a problem and you solved it directly, right? But second order thinking is you designed a solution and it creates some consequence, and therefore you're thinking for those consequences as well. And so, how to design for that or how to consider that, a great example would be the like button. Uh, it was just to like, but what does the like represent now, right? Or the heart symbol and so on. And that's something we'll have another session on. So
Yes, yes. Anything.
And
all right. I mean, Shayan, you want to wrap
yeah,
up?
nothing. I think there are not much question from people now because we already covered most of the thing, and I think this was a good session. I think we asked a lot of great question, and I also learned so many things. So yeah, the kind of successful, I think second meetup, right?
Yes.
Second IXT collaboration thing. So it is nice. And then people also interacted very well. So that is also great. Yeah.
Yes,
Let's
yes.
see how much impacted that will turn into a good insight for them to work on. So that let's see.
Right.
That's from my side. There is nothing more else. We will continue doing more stuff like this in the Zoom.
Yeah.
So also you can join Culture, and I think IXT also you can share the link in the chat so they can also join. I think Culture I already shared. IXT you can share.
Sure.
So people can join our Instagram, WhatsApp, LinkedIn and stuff to get more update. Culture is already always open. So
Right.
join that. So yeah, that's it from my side, guys.
So very
Have a
nice.
great,
Thank you,
great
everybody.
Sunday.
Thank you. Thank you for joining. Thank you for organizing such a nice
Yeah,
event.
yeah. Goodbye, guys.
Bye bye.
Have a great day.